And so when you get on a ketogenic diet, when you go get your blood work done, it's going to throw those numbers out of whack. Hey, welcome to Kilos and Keto, where I go through and I share aspects of the ketogenic diet and working out. And today we are going to be discussing some of the dangers of the ketogenic diet. So let's get to it. The dangers of the ketogenic diet. So you're starting the ketogenic diet, and there's just some things that no one's going to tell you unless they've been doing it for as long as someone like myself or people who've been doing it longer. The reason why the ketogenic diet is dangerous if not utilized properly is the basis of it, right? As I said in the video, number one, is you're consuming about 70 to 75% of your calories are in fats, right? And so that right there, the primary thing, right? Your fats, which are going to be considered your triglycerides, HDL, which is your good cholesterol. The H in HDL means it's supposed to be high, and then your LDL, which the L in LDL is your bad, which you want low, right? And so when you get on a ketogenic diet, when you go get your blood work done, it's going to throw those numbers out of whack, right? And so your doctors are going to be, concerned. They're going to want to throw you on a statin or like Crestor, however, whatever it's called, right? Some sort of statin, which will do more damage to your body than the diet itself will, right? So in the past few years, there have been a few discoveries that have come out basically stating that fats consumed from food, like foods found naturally, right? As Justin Harris would say, he's a nutritionist and a bodybuilder. If you can't grow it, pick it, or hunt it, don't eat it, right? So if you're growing it, picking it, or hunting it, and it has a natural amount of fat in it, you're fine, right? Those type of fats should not hurt you, right? But your bad fats that you found in like McDonald's and fast food and restaurant foods, those will hurt you, okay? Basically, the good thing is like if it's solid at room temperature, if the fat is a solid at room temperature, that could be a problem. Now, the only caveat is to like coconut oil, which is loaded with MCTs, which are good for you, okay? But the reason why it's so dangerous is if you don't follow the ketogenic diet as the diet itself, and you are sneaking in a tortilla here, a piece of bread here, a cookie there, and pasta here, pasta there, your blood has all this fat in it. And when you eat those carbohydrates, you're going to get an insulin response, and it's going to go up, right? And so when that goes up like that, your insulin is a storage hormone, right? And so when insulin is high in the bloodstream, it's basically taking all the substances that are found in the blood and storing it into cells, right? It's going to get stored as liver and muscle glycogen, right? But if you are watching this channel and you're not really active, you're already super saturated in muscle and liver glycogen, so you're not needing that. And so it's going to be used as energy. As Justin Harris would say, is the law of conservation of energy. If you already have too much glycogen and you're already using energy, it's got to be put somewhere, because energy and matter just doesn't appear and just disappear into thin air, right? It'll get stored as fat, right? Fat will get stored as fat, and protein will get turned into sugar, and that will get stored as fat. And the carbohydrates will also get stored as fat. So as you see, the ketogenic diet, I tell everyone, is an all or nothing game. If you get on the ketogenic diet and you find yourself, wanting to cheat, and you're eating a cookie late at night, every night, stop the diet. Stop it right then and there. Find something else to do, or get rid of the cookies, do something. What you're doing is you're eating all this fat, you're saturating your blood with all these fats and triglycerides, and then you introduce insulin into the mix by eating the carbohydrate, and it goes through, shuttles around, and it stores it all into fat. And so if you don't follow the ketogenic diet to the T, then what's going to happen is that all that free floating stuff is going to get stored as fat, and you're going to gain fat faster than you would have if you didn't do the diet. That is super, super important, right? Keto will take weight off of you fast, and keto will also put weight on you faster if you don't follow it appropriately. And so when you're gaining that weight that fast, and this is coming from experience, right? And I'll do a whole separate video. Actually, let me make a note of that. 1 second. Artificial sweeteners, right? I fell into the trap of artificial sweeteners. I would drink a drink that was loaded rich in maltodextrin, right? Which is found in a lot of zero sugar drinks. And I was drinking this stuff by the gallon, and I was eating keto like I was supposed to, but I was getting fat super, super fast. Follow the diet as it's supposed to be followed. No carbs. If you are going to eat carbs, keep them. If you're in your first 2-3 weeks, month of keto, keep your GI foods under 20, right? I have an entire video, which I'll link in the description, and I'll try to put a card of the GI index and how to use it and how to read it. And so another danger is you're going to go to your doctor, you're going to get your blood work done, your LDLs are going to be through the roof, your HDLs should be through the roof, your triglycerides are going to be through the roof, right? And this is natural for the diet because you're eating all this fat to stay full, satiated longer. If you're super concerned about your LDL, then get a test, and it may or may not be covered under insurance, but it's called the LDL-P. And what that is that it is a blood test that tests specifically your LDLs, and it tests the particle size, the P, the particle size, and how big they are. And basically when you get that LDL-P done, you want big P numbers, because the bigger the particle, the less likely it is to get lodged in the micro cracks of your blood vessels. Where does that come from? When you have high blood pressure, when you're a bigger person, your heart is having to pump harder to push that blood through your body, right? And your blood vessels are elastic. And so when you're following a poor diet, you're going to get what they call stenosis, which is hardening of those vessels. And so it's just like a rubber band. If you put a rubber band in the freezer and then you pull it out and you pull on it, right? It's going to pop, it's going to snap, right? And so you'll see that there's little cracks in there. That's like your blood vessels. Your blood vessels will start cracking because they're not designed to be pushed that far, right? So you'll get these little micro cracks in the blood vessel, and how you start getting your cholesterol high, or when the fat starts getting lodged into those cracks, the plaque starts to build up, right? Which is starting to close off arteries, right? And so that's when you start getting into your MIs, or your myocardial infarctions, or heart attacks, or your brain attacks or strokes, right? Because those areas of the brain or the heart aren't getting the oxygen like they're supposed to, whether that be from an embolism, whether that be just from stenosis, from as a whole, which is just hardening of the stuff, right? You start getting these oxygen issues, right? And it starts leading to tissue death and everything else, right? So if you have big LDL particles, they're not going to be able to fit into those little micro cracks to build up. They're just going to get circulated, and HDL will come and grab them and help them out, right? And help them get out, right? But if they're small, you have a problem, right? Because now they are getting stuck in there, and they are going to be able to start to build up and build plaque. And then those larger particles are going to be able to start getting stuck and building up that plaque and narrowing those arteries and causing you issues, okay? So basically, bottom line, conclusion, follow the diet as it's intended. Don't eat carbohydrates, eat high fat, and you'll be fine, right? Because you're not going to have the insulin response that you would normally get, and you will sit there and you'll live life happily ever after, and you won't ever have a problem. The diet has been around this long, and it's not because it's not safe, you know. It's been around this long because it's safe and it's effective for people who, like myself and probably like yourself, that has a really hard time controlling your appetite, okay? So the goal of this channel is to help the beginners like you get into shape and to live a healthier lifestyle and to rid the world of diabetes one person at a time. Type 2 diabetes, type 1, I can't do nothing about, sorry. But type 2, we can combat it together if we can rid the world of adult onset diabetes. All right, until next time. Bye.